What is fantasy genre? It is speculative fiction whose family tree has branches and stems in folklore and ancient world myths. Fantasy in books, movies, operas, and games are usually set in magical worlds and universes. Creative writing teacher and fellow author Jacqueline Seawald in our previous blog post makes a valid point that fantasy deals with the past. And she is right, the fantasy genre is currently rooted in historical and medieval fiction. Obviously, with all the stories about castles, trolls, elves, dungeons and dragons, and parallel realms that look like the English, Irish, Scottish, Wales countrysides, at some point in our lives, we have all read the influence of medieval literature in postmodern fantasy novels and short stories, or we watched a fantasy series in movies or TV that featured these elements. Speculative literature continues to draw readers and will always have a wide audience because it engages and captives the imagination of readers and authors alike. Aristotle was the first to introduce the concepts of plots and archplot, though he did not state as much about plot as many are led to believe. As writing teachers and MFA schools have adapted the term, the fantasy genre's main structure became the archplot. Robert McKee expanded on the concept of the archplot. Thanks to Hollywood, the fantasy genre is broken up into main three subgenres: 1. Science fiction. 2. Magical. 3. Morphed fantastical realities. Many games and apps lean on the fantasy genre in the sense that they use augmented reality, virtual reality, futuristic reality, and consistently manipulate the concept of reality, time and space in their storytelling journeys. The theme of reality is huge in the fantasy genre, not just in books but also in fantasy movies, games, apps, and TV shows. Some of the most captivating fantasy writers love to play with the concept of multiple dimensions. Stranger Things, Game of Thrones, and Harry Potter all have something in common. Yes, they are all famous books, movies, but what binds them together is that they all belong to a very popular genre of fiction, fantasy. Fantasy fiction is a type of writing where the story is set in a place or contains elements that aren't real and which cannot happen in real life. They may involve magic, mythological creatures, or technology that is eons ahead of our time. These stories may take place on another planet, in another universe, or in another dimension. Essentially, the fantasy genre contains characters, clothing, language, technology, and belief systems, behaviors that don't exist in reality and might never exist in the present moment in our version of planet Earth. 5 reasons why people love fantasy. Hint: something about folk tales and myths have a lot to do with such interest. It is more creative than other types of fiction. It adds a bit of magic to our mundane lives. It allows the reader, viewer, to escape her challenging reality for a while. It celebrates humanity and all that we are capable of. It gives us hope for a better future. Stay tuned for new upcoming book, movie reviews, short stories, comics, writing apps, and fun stuff from other writers around the world. Directed and edited by Elizabeth Simmons, a writer. To read her zany tweets, follow her at Literaryebooks. And check out the site literaryebookreviews.com/blogs.